Welcome back, everybody. For today, let's look at the Notion journaling software and let's look at how you can set this up so that you can look at a basic template to save all your back testing as well as your forward testing as well as your tape reading and then ultimately demo results. And then later on in time, when you are ready, your live trades need to be journaled. So after you have signed in or signed up, you're going to get to a page like this. I am just using the web-based platform. They do have an app available for you to download. If you want to download the app, then you could do so. What's really nice about Notion is the fact that you can also download this on your Android and you can have your notes synced up on your phone if you feel like you casually want to sit down on a weekend and maybe not sit in front of the PC and you just want to review your week, then you can just do that on your phone and take a look at the trades that you took for the week or the back testing that you did. You can just go through those. So that's a nice feature to have it synced up between platforms, and you can mean which mean also means that you can go and log into a different computer and you can access your profile just by logging in and everything would be there for you. So you're going to be greeted with something that looks like this. And up here you get you get a search, you get a home, inbox, settings and members function, which you don't really have to go too deep into those. You got a trash down here. Everything that you delete goes into this. If you by accident delete anything and you want to recover that, then you can just go back into the trash and you can just restore what you deleted. So the first thing that I usually do when I look at this, I'm going to get rid of these. We don't need these. Let's get rid of this. Delete that. And then on private over here, we're going to add a page. We're going to call this page, let's say this is going to be the journal 2024. Then you can go ahead, you can just go up here, you can add a cover. You can change this cover. You can upload something, or you can just choose from one of the available options. They do have quite a plethora of options available, so you can find something that you like, or you can upload your own. For this example, I am going to choose this one here. What I usually like to do is you go on this little plus icon, you can see here that it says add below or to add a block above. Or you can go on this dotted menu. And what I like to do is I like to go into a handy feature is the turn into, and you can then make yourself headings. You can do bullet lists over here. You can do to-do lists if you want those, numbered lists, toggle lists. You can put a quote up, and you also get a variety of different features, I like to start it off by giving it a heading and something really nice that I usually like to do is my goals for the year. You just press enter, goes to a new line, and then see I'm doing the plus sign now. Just going to create a list. And as an example, the goals that I want to achieve, let's say I want to backtest for 4 months. It's also got a, oh, there we go. Let's see if it's going to allow me to correct this, to do the spell check on this. It's got a spell check function as well. Here we go. So there you go. If you want to do a spell check, back test, so there's that. You just right click to access that, but you need to make sure that your cursor is at the back of the word. So I want to do back testing for 4 months. Then I want to forward test for 4 months. Now, this is just a hypothetical example to just give you an idea of a template or how you can set up your own template. So tape read for 4 months. What I would probably do over here is move all this down. And as a new student or new trader, one of the first things that you probably want to focus on is go through all the PD arrays of ICT. Find the ones that resonate with you the most. Resonate. Find the ones that resonate with you the most. Pick one out of the list. And then build a basic model with that PD array. That's where you should start. That's really where you want to start things off. So what I could do over here now is I want to do a subheading. Heading 2, and this is, I'm going to say, start with this. Then, these are the first things that you need to get done on your list. Then, as per example, we could add another heading and then say, move on to this. So that is a basic little layout to give you yourself goals for the year. And what I usually like to do is once I've finished them, just let me see. What I like to do is I go on a new line. Let's see if I can get this. See, as you scroll down, they have a plethora of things that you can make use of. You can use AI features if you fancy that. You can use some of those. They give you diagrams, key points, summaries. You can upload images, web bookmarks, videos, audio code. You can even upload files, which this is really nice if you, let's say, did make a note about something and then at a later stage you refer back to that, and that was a important time in your journey, then you can always reference back to that specific point in time by uploading a file, or you could embed a link. And what you could do is you could link back to that specific page in your journal where you did that observation. So that's a nice feature to have. See that you can link databases. So it's got a plethora of features here, honestly. You can do tables, columns. Here you go. Mention a page and place in text. Really, really nice feature, as you can see. They have a plethora of things. You can go through those on your own. I'm looking for a emoji. See, it gives you a list of all the emojis. And let me just see. Check mark. In this case, we're going to have to choose. I would see the black one. No, it's not going to work. Check mark, the green one. Select that, copy that. And once you're done with something, then you can just add a nice little check mark at the back so that you know that you are done with that specific task. So that's a nice feature. So this is the basic template of how I would make a starting page. Then another thing that I usually like to do, I like to add a quote. You can add this quote. You can also move things. I would want to move this above this journal, but it doesn't want to go there. We can also just put this under my goals for the year, and then you can write something of your own there. And every time you open up your journal, then you'll land on this page. You're going to go through these things, and you're going to take note of the quote, what you need to get done, what you want to move on to eventually. It's important to have a few goals on this as well. That's why you're going to start with this. You're going to move on to this later on. And then we could do another subheading. We could say Doing the year off, bulleted list. You're doing tape reading. Then we want to go into a demo and we want to recover a $2,000. Let's just say recover a minus $2,000 draw down account. Let's just see what does it say? Drawdown. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Go into a demo and recover a negative 2,000 drawdown account from a 50K demo. Okay. So we're gonna go into a demo and recover a 2,000 $2,000 drawdown account from a 50K demo. And once you've done that, then we can look at all the results. Then you can see what you need to work on and give extra attention. And that's a nice basic plan your year. Just get a rough idea of what you want to achieve, capture your progress. And as you're going to demo, as you're going to journal, not demo, on Notion, the wonderful thing about this is if everything is captured on a journal, on your journal, then you can look at the results. Everything gets captured. So you can go look at the results of back testing. You can look at the results of forward testing. You can look at the results of your tape reading examples. Now, and that can get as advanced as you want to make it, or it can be as simple as you want it to be. That's where this stuff comes in. You're going to go through all the PD arrays of ICT. You get those in month 5 of the core content mentorship. You can find those, go through them, find the ones that resonate with you, pick one out of the list. How are you going to pick one? You're going to have to start by going into charts, and then you're going to look at the charts and you're going to see which one your eye jumps to, the easiest. You're going to take all of them, go into charts, and you're going to start practicing which ones do you see easily, which ones resonate with you. You're going to narrow down that list of the ones that you easily see, the ones you understand the best. And then you're going to narrow it down to one, and then you're going to build a basic model. So, what I would do below this is this is where you're actually going to put your notes. So, I'm just going to make a thing note taking. And this is probably where I like to go in. You can add a new page. If you want to go back, it's just up here, or just up here. You could just, yeah, you could just go back. You can go in. It's an untitled page. And then it's easy to say, as per example, back testing. And what I like to do here is I actually like to make this into a table view. This has been the easiest way for me to capture my data. You see, it opens up this new tab, gives you a little basic column here. You can just click this drop down, place page format inside, because you got to do a new template, which basically that just gives you a. You can also go in there and you can change properties here, by the way. You can change which specific things are seen over here. So let's first go in. Let's do a new template. You can call this template whatever you want. Usually I leave this blank, and we'll get to that in a moment. Now, these properties, these are the things that are really important, these tags. If you guys, the OG members of the channel, would remember that back when I started this channel, I did a couple of videos on the ICT Mentorship 2022 strategy. And there was a specific video on the 6 easy steps trading plan that I did. If you guys remember, then we had a simple checklist. Now, going in here, you get a whole bunch of properties you can choose here. For this specific one, I like having the select toggled. Now you can give it a name. You can name this specific property. Now, the first one, it used to be London or New York session. We're just gonna focus on AM or PM session. That's basically what we are gonna focus on. We're just gonna say AM or PM, and it'll just be a select sort manual. You can just add an option, call it AM, click OK, add another option, call it PM, click OK. You can feel free to change your colors to whatever you like. And then if you just click away from this, you see I now have a drop down, which is AM or PM. I can click here on the right where it says empty. And I can say, okay, this was a AM session trade. I can add another property and I can say stops taken. It could be as simple as a yes or no. A yes or no option. And this is how you filter out. Okay, maybe that was not such a high probability trade because we, for instance, did not have that impulse leg. So I could just say yes on this. And then we could do another one. We can call this one market structure shift. I'm just going to say market structure shift, abbreviation. And then it's going to be a yes or a no option. This is where you might want to start changing the colors, since all the colors are kind of starting to get the same now. So to add a bit of pop, you can just start changing the colors. Stops taken. So if you want to move, you just go on these little dots, click on it, and you just move them around. So that's pretty simple. We say market structure shift, yes. Add another property. You could just say impulse leg or impulse move, aggressive price run. It used to be aggressive price run, so I'm just going to say aggressive price run. Can we autocorrect this? No. Aggressive price run. It's going to be as simple as yes or no. Yes or no. They do change the colors around a little bit, but it's a good idea to go in, change them, make them your own. Let's make this one green and yellow. No, not yellow, maybe green and brown. That's good, I guess. You just say yes, we did have a aggressive price run. See if you hover over it and it doesn't display the whole thing, then you can see what actually what there would be. Then the next one is price in a discount or a premium. It's going to be another simple yes or no. See, they do sort of randomize the colors, which are quite nice. Let's just say yes. And then in the next one, it used to be a fair value gap in the 50% discount or premium range. So just a fair value gap in 50% discount or premium range. And it's going to be a simple yes or no. See, in this case, I'm going to change the yes because we already had this color. We do gray. Instead of brown, we could just do yellow. And then again, we have to move these over. If you hover over it, it shows you what the option was. And you can just say yes. Your fair value gap was in the 50% discount or premium of the range. So that is how you would select these options. Now, let's say that I'm done with this. I click out. We have, let me just see which one. Okay, so that's the top one. So you're gonna have to go in. See, it says default and empty. You're gonna have to go in. You're gonna have to click on this. You're gonna have to say set as default, and you could just go for all the views in entitled, and I'll get to that later on. So now, what's nice is you see this. One thing I did want to remove here. Okay, crap! I just made a new page. Actually, I want to. If you want to edit your template, you go here. You go in here and you go into edit with tags. Like I don't want to do any tags, so I'll just delete the property and that removes that property. Get rid of that. But this is what's nice is you can see with each one, okay, what information did I put down for that specific trade? Was it an AM trade or a PM trade? Did I get an aggressive price run to discount or a premium rate? By the way, you can also extend this so that everything is nice and legible easily. Was your stops taken? So that's quite nice that it gives you everything in a table, and that's where it comes down to that. I want to go in and I actually want to look at the data and see what the results gave me. So if you're going to go into this, by the way, on the template, you're not going to put anything in here. It's going to be blank because for each new page that you open up, you want to be able to put this data, you want to capture that data. And this is why I leave this blank. What I usually do over here is I add a property, and I just got to find the exact one. I usually choose the date, and then it's just going to give you that format. You got to change it. You got to go with what format you need. You need to choose. You can choose all this stuff, and you can choose what you can choose your type. But I'm going to put that as a date when duplicated. I usually leave it on today. I'm going to get, if I want to get rid of something, I just go here, or you could just select that little checkbox and you can just click on delete. Click on that, click on that, click on delete. If I want to add a new one, I could just click on the plus. We could just, but I don't like to do it that way. But you could do that if you want to do that. I don't like to do that. What I like to do is I like coming up here, click on new. That opens up this page over here to the right. I can then, what I usually do is I type in the currency pair, NASDAQ. It's July 14, 2024. I believe there's a different format than this one. There's a different date than that specific one. Because the one that I choose, I have the specific time as well of when the trade got entered. Just going to edit. Just see date. Created by. Created time. So we just chose the date. Time optional. Okay, so time should be optional with this. Include the time. Okay, here you go. That's exactly how I've got that set up. So let's delete this. Let's get rid of this. Do a new page. Then what I do is currency pair, NASDAQ, drop a space. You can just go to the right, copy to your clipboard. Obviously, just do a space, and then it's NASDAQ. It was taken July 14th, 2024, 12 a.m. That was when your trade was taken. I believe edit the property. Okay, well that's fine. That's close enough. So that gives you the exact time that it was this page was created. So if I create a new page, then it'll automatically put in the exact uh, date and time on this thing. Hold on, wait a sec. Let me just see. July the 14th. Yeah, this is good. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Date when duplicated. Date format. Okay, you have to go into date format and time zone. See that Eastern Daylight Time. You can just change it. Let's see if they got this one. Eastern. Eastern Daylight Time. Hmm. That should be fine for now, honestly. Unless we want to do UTC. Eastern Daylight Time. That's perfect. Eastern Daylight Time. So I just leave that on. You gotta go with what was. You can either choose your local time, or you could choose obviously the same as TradingView. You could just do Eastern time, and that will give you the times relevant to the Eastern time standard, which probably would be the better idea, just considering that you're probably going to be using the different macros. So you're going to want to have the time in Eastern standard for those to transfer over exactly the same. So that should be good. Okay, so the time is still not, it's not giving me the correct time yet. So this is not correct. It's just a matter of, I believe, the now. I think it's one of these. There we go. See that? So that took a bit of finagling just to get that all set up. But you're just gonna have to go through, and that just gives you the basic idea of this is how I use this. So let's try making a template again. Let's get rid of these. Delete. Let's do a new template. Okay, it opens up. We're looking at the NASDAQ. Do a space. Copy this. And there you go. That gives you the exact time. Keep note that you are not able to edit this specific time here, but you can just copy whatever is over here and you can obviously make changes according to that up here. You can change that up here, up to your liking. So that is the basic setup of this template. Let's throw in a little bit of juice. Let me add a couple of things that I believe are salient to your growth, which if you're not going to start journaling that when you start out, then you're going to feel like you want to kick yourself later on in your journaling, because it's all data that you've captured, and then you're going to have to go back if you want to add a specific property. You're going to have to go back, look at exactly, what happened and do your property on that. So what I believe is another important thing over here, and I do a select drop down, call it macro, add your options, and then what I would do is like the 820 to 840 macro, you add that in. I believe this one has to be, here we go, more options. The next one might be 930 to 940. You can just put in AM at the back so that cleans it up. If you need to go back and make changes, you can do so. What did I just do with that? 9 9:20 to 9:30 a.m. Remember that you need to click on the enter button, otherwise it throws it away. So that's an example of when you could do. Let's do the 9:50 to 10 a.m. macro. And then we could do for a last one, we could do the 10:50 to 11:10 a.m. macro. So you can go ahead, you can change these colors to whatever you want. You can rearrange them if you want to do that. I feel like that's something salient, that something that you do want to journal and you want to see that result, because this is going to show you what specific time that specific model tends to reoccur. So that's something you do want to take a journal of. So that's something I would throw in here. What time was the macro? Something else that I would throw in would be, as per example, I would say daily bias. We could, okay, I wouldn't say daily bias. I'll say higher time frame, your higher time frame bias. Then I would say we are long, we are short, or we are consolidating, and you can again rearrange these as you wish. Long or short or consolidating, and this would be something that I would, there's going to be a certain order to these checklists, and that's going to differ. It's going to really depend on how you, what you have on your checklist. It's really going to differ. Certain things need to be before certain things. Like I believe like a higher time frame bias should probably be at the top. And then another property would probably be the macro time. Another one is going to be, are you trading in line with the higher time frame? And that's going to be a simple yes or no. Change this color from, let's go for a green. So that's another thing, that these are I believe important things. Like you're going to be looking, okay, what's my higher time frame bias? Okay, it's, we have a clear equal high on the daily or on the 4-hour chart. So we're going to be long. Macro, okay, we are approaching 9:20 to 9:30 a.m. That should not be 9:40. You see that? It's so simple to go in and make a change. 9:20, 9:40. Okay, I'm not a big fan of this color. I'm just going to go in here, edit the property, change this to something like a brown, so that we have variation between the two. So the hard time frame bias is long. We're approaching the macro. Then the next one is, are we in line? Are you planning to go short or are you planning to go long? So that's what that means. So if I'm planning, if for instance, okay, it's like, no, this trading idea is not going to be in line with the higher time frame, then that is a red flag. And then you should probably look at, if you do want to take that setup, you probably want to go in and take a lower amount of risk on that specific setup because you are trading against the daily bias. Now, if it's probably going to be a landmine week, you will have a bias on the higher time frame. You're probably going to form some type of a bias, whether it's going to be a long or a short, or maybe it's consolidation. Then you might go against that idea, but then you're obviously trading the session liquidity. So there's going to be different variables depending on which situation you're going to be in. So then you would obviously tackle this differently, and then you might not be going in with, let's say, that reduced percentage of risk or exposure. Then you're going to look at the AM or PM. Now, AM or PM would still be nice, relevant. Let's just say that was in the AM. Although I feel like if you're probably going to be looking at macro timing, then that in itself, that tells you what time that specific setup did occur in. So then maybe this is a variable that you're just going to delete that. Then you're going to note if the stops were taken, yes or no. Did you have a market structure shift, aggressive run, price was in a discount or a premium? And then what's your fair value gap in a discount or a premium of its range? And obviously, these are things that you're going to check before you look at entering the trade. And this is how you filter the trade. So if let's say something like it's not in line with your higher time frame bias, and let's say perhaps they did not have a impulse move or a aggressive price run, moving away from that higher time frame PD array, and it didn't really give you that impulsive, that really aggressive move down. It's kind of just dribbling down slowly. That kind of decreases the probability of that trade, and that might make you rethink taking that trade just because of this specific variable. Or that might mean that you will take the setup, but you're going to take the setup with a reduced exposure. Then something that I would add as a new trader, I would probably add something that was gain or loss. I would add something like this, and I would just say that was a winner or a loser, and we could just change these colors, make the winner a green, make the loser a red. It doesn't really matter. It's honestly up to your own preference. And I would just look at it like that. Now let's just get rid of all these variables, and then we can just do like a quick little example of this, how to use this, how I would apply this. So let's clear all those variables. Then at the top of the page, probably add a subheading and say trade that I took. And I would probably, okay, let's change. Now I'm going to change this. I want to turn that into a heading. And I actually want to do a subheading. And I want to write this calendar. Now I want to turn this into a subheading. And this is where I would hypothetically post the calendar. I actually wonder why it's doing this now. I really don't want to. Okay, oh, here we go. Just a normal one. I don't want to do any, but you could do those subheadings if you wanted to do that, but I don't want to do that. Turn into subheading calendar. And then I do want to add a, no. I want to add a quote. It's nice to have a little quote up here. Just say something positive before you know, before you get into your trade. You're going to look at this, and that's a nice little reminder just to get your head, keep your head nice and clear. So this is where you would paste your calendar, trades that I took. You're going to start with calendar, paste the calendar, and then I would say something like a third heading, and I would say chart or example or trade. You could just say charts. And then usually what I like to do is I like to write down what happened, what set the base for me to take that specific trade. Now that basically is what higher time frame PD array did we trade into? And then what type of model did price give you? So in this example, let's just say price, we're going to do an example on this. So I'm not going to write anything down now. Then you're going to get your screenshots. They're going to be down here. Screenshots, you're going to write those down. And then usually I like to close it off with another subheading. And we could just say, how did you feel? How did you feel during the trade? I feel like that's something important as well to take a note of. So then we can just click out of this. No, I don't really want to move between those. Just want to click out of that. Let's get, again get rid of this example. Let's get rid of that. Let's do a new example. Takes a bit of time to load these things up, but there you go. So I do actually want to open up a chart and just do a basic example here on the US 100. Mm, let me see here. Which one I want to choose. And I'm going to move this screen over just now so we can actually look at this chart. Let me move the screen over, in fact. Look at this chart. Okay. So now we're looking at this chart, this 1 minute US 100 chart, and we're looking at Friday the 12th price action here. And let's say we were doing back testing and you saw, as an example, let's see, this is a low, high, lower, low. Forget about the wicks. Look at the bodies. See these bodies here. We go below those bodies. Then we trade through that. So this could be a breaker block. Trend line. That could be a breaker block right there. Breaker block. Then I usually like to add more or less where you'd probably have to take the entry there. Then you have a fair value gap there. And we had an order block. These string of down candles were an order block. So that coincides with this breaker block level. That coincides with that idea. Then I would probably look at stickers. Okay, there we go. I would probably look at, if you're just starting out, then you probably want to note some things like stops that were taken, like stops were taken there, obviously, for our equal low. So that's important to take note of. For our equal lows, we cleared those lows. So stops were taken. And we then traded higher off of that idea. So that would be, so what I would put in the journal, that comes back to what I said. And we'll get to that in a second. So we got that example. We could use that as a trading idea. The stop here would have to be below that that order block here. You're either going to put it at the order block or you have a small inversion up there. So if you want to use that, then you could make use of that. And it's obviously going to be a one. It's going to be a 1 to 2. Or if you're starting out, you're probably going to look for the hypothetical 5 handle run, which is probably where you should start out. So this trading idea might be something that does not qualify that because it's more than 5 handles. Another idea that we could take a look at is we also have a low, high, lower, low. That's another breaker block. So that could be another potential trading idea. So we have the breaker block, we have a fair value gap, another fair value gap. We have the consequent encroachment of this 1 hour fair value gap. Stop would be there. Now this one, again, the stop is a bit hefty. It's probably going to be more than what you're going to want to put up as a stop if you're targeting the 5 handles. You're probably going to look for something that has a 1-to-1 ratio where you would be risking 5 handles to make 5 handles. So again, that is something that is going to be different for each one of us. This one takes at 10. We'll be at the 10:35. Let's just choose. Let's go with this one down here. It's slightly outside of that macro of 9:48. It's a minute or two just before that, but let's take this one as an example. So, okay, we're risking slightly less than 5 handles and we're targeting 5 handles here. What I would do is take whatever you use for a screenshot app. You take your screenshot. Let's go over to Notion. So back at the new trading example, first thing you're gonna do is, in this example, we would paste that chart. The chart comes in, and I'm gonna write down that we so price traded into a 4-hour equal low and presented me with the breaker block. Now again, this is a very changeable variable. You could do a fair value gap. We had the fair value gap here. Then what I like to do is I like to, if the higher time frame PD array is down that low, I just like to bring it in. You could just click on this one and just paste, and it throws it in here. And there you go. You can double click on these. They open up so you can see what was going on here. And then you can have a closer look. Then usually I like to do a screenshot of the 15-minute time frame. Let me just do that real quick. Of the 15. Paste that in. Then you could do a screenshot of the hourly chart. You can put that in. 4-hour chart. Throw this in. The daily chart. We can throw that in. Fantastic. So there you go. Now you have all these screenshots thrown in. You noted what price traded into, what higher time frame level it traded into. This could also be a variable that you could just place above if you don't want to write that down here. I just like to write it down here. So I, again, just write it down. We trade it into that. It's all going to depend on how you want to set it up, honestly. You need to, again, you need to make this stuff your own. So then you have your screenshots in here. And then for calendar, let me just pull up the calendar. Throw this in. We just open it up. This week, it'll be under last week. And the trade idea was Friday. So I would just take a screenshot of Fridays. Just come right there, snap it in. If there was any high impact news events, occurring during your period, which was the 9:50. In this case, we had 10 a.m. prelim UOM. You could just write down prelim 10 a.m. prelim UOM. You could just note that down so that you know what was happening, or if there is something that is high impact that specific day, then you take note of that specific news event, and you can do this before you when you just open up the charts. You can just come and paste this in, obviously. And then, okay, for the checklist, higher time frame bias on this one, we were obviously going to be long. The macro was 9:50 to 10:10 in line of higher time frame. Yes, we were, because we were looking for longs. This was in the AM session. Stops were taken. Yes, that was noted with the X. Market structure shift. Yes, we did have a market structure shift. Let me just go on to that 1 minute chart. I have it up here in front of me. Market structure shift. Aggressive price run higher. Yes, we did. We had a nice candle that ran through the high of that breaker block. Let me just see. This candle there ran through the high of that breaker block. Price was in a discount or a premium. It was in a discount, yes, because we took those lows. We were still in the discount range relative to where we expected price to draw higher. So we were still in a discount. And then the fair value gap in a 50% discount or premium range. With that idea, we're going to have to go over to the charts. Looking at the chart here, go to fib, low, high, lower, low. Pull your fib from the low up to where the move expanded to before we turn it into the fair value gap or order block. In this case, unfortunately, we did not get that fair value gap per se. That would be in a the discount of the range, because we did not trade back below 50%. In an ideal scenario, you would have wanted to see a bigger impulse move up higher, something like price trading up to this level and then coming back into the fair value gap or the breaker block. And then you would have been inside of a discount relative to from this low to the high that formed, to price coming back down and trading into your level. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, go back to the previous videos on the channel and those are explained in the videos there. Let's hop back to the journal. So back at the journal, in this case, it's going to be a no. So that might be a factor where you would consider, okay, look to take less risk on the position. And ultimately, it was a winner. Now, obviously, if you are doing back testing, then how did you feel during this position? Then this is not a variable that you would use. But if this is, as per example, a tape reading entry, then this might be a variable that you would be looking at. And you might even be writing notes down between these screenshots, because you're probably going to be taking multiple screenshots of the 1 minute or other time frames, and you're going to know, okay, price needs to do this now. I want to see this. So those are variables, of course, that will come into play depending on what your situation is. So this is a nice, simple, basic layout. And then to close it off, NASDAQ, copy this over, copy that over, paste it. Now, this was not July the 14th. This trade was taken on July the 12th, 2024, and it was taken at 9, to be exact on the number, 9:47 a.m. Close that out. It automatically saves it. So you have your names listed here. It's going to be listing. Okay. So this is where you're going to have to change these up over here. Let me see. Okay. You can just drag and drop. Stupid. It's easy. So obviously the date, that's going to be a variable that you want right at the beginning. Winner or loser, that's going to be like at the end. Macros and all these need to go way over. Like higher time frame bias needs to be one of your top things. You can go down here. So obviously you're gonna move these things in line with higher time frame, and then macro is gonna be up here as well. Macro, let's see, drop that there. So this is a wonderful layout, simple, basic template that you can set up on your platform. So there you got your variables. So long, yes, it was in line, macro, AM, PM, aggressive, price in a discount or a premium relative to where you're going. This one should be maybe above that one, price in a discount or premium. And you measure that one by looking at the starting range, and then where you would ultimately look to terminus on that position. Again, that is all explained in previous videos. And then for fair gap in a 50%. Now that's going to change. It could be a fair gap or a block. It's going to depend. Market structure shift, stops taken, and then a gain or a loss. So that's how you can get simple data over here. And then the nice thing is you can come up here, you can click on table. You can click up here and you can get different views of this data. You could do a calendar, you could do a list. So the list is quite nice too sometimes if you just want to take note of things. But that's not going to give you the full set of data points, which you probably want to look at. And then you can look at the calendar too, and you can just note that which days. So that's really, really nice. It's features that I would say it's really nice as a trader, and you want to look at these things. So that's how you set up a stupid and easy journaling template. You can go back. Now, let's say I have a empty template and I want to use this basic set of variables with my forward testing. Then I believe you can click on this. You can just say duplicate. When you duplicate this, you go in, and this could be forward testing, right? Forward testing. You can just go in and you can obviously delete whatever data you have. You can go into template, just edit your templates, and this is where you could just say, okay, I want to remove this, or I want to change things up. So that's as simple as it is, honestly. It's not complicated, it's pretty easy. And if I want to copy this whole basic template set, Then again, I could just go over here and I could just duplicate this. Let's say it's 2025. I can go in 2025. Obviously, you're going to start with a new data set. You're just going to scroll in, select them, delete them, and you can change your cover. You can do something else, like maybe you were feeling something else, like a, I don't know, maybe you were feeling that or this one, whatever. And then you can just come in, you could put a new quote up, you're going to change those, and there you go. Then you can just go in and you could just clear out these templates if you want to reuse these templates. So that's probably going to do it for this video. Hopefully you have found this one insightful, and hopefully you have learned something new here. And until the next one, be safe and good luck.